Hello there and welcome to episode 18 of the Not So Casual Gamer podcast. My name is Sam Christensen and joining me as always is Lewis Cunningham. Lewis, how do you do?
It's getting cold.
It is getting cold.
Finally,
yes.
global warming, innit?
COP have fixed it. They've done it.
As in they've pushed the cold button?
They pushed the cold button. We were just waiting for Biden to just arrive in his 40 cars and push the cold button. That's all we were waiting on.
Come on, man.
Oh, I need to go to Scotland and push the cold button.
Glasgow.
I
actually saw an article saying how he did that really, massively.
Oh, did he? It just doesn't surprise me.
I just thought it was funny that it was one of these trash mainstream media things that you see comes up. I don't know, I can't remember what it was, a Scottish Sun or something. It was Joe Biden says Glasgow. Literally. That was the whole. It was an article based on that, and I was like, "Wow."
It's one sentence long.
This is the world we live in.
The headline is the same as the subtext of the article. There you go. Yeah. Yes, it is starting to get cold, and it's been a busy old time. But we've got some stuffs to talk about. We've got some games that have been played. So you can start us off on that journey.
Yeah, that's been quite interesting actually for since the last one. It's been somewhat unexpected for me. I bought a game for £4.79. I did tell you about this one. It was I think the third time I've bought it. But because it was the only way to do it, because I don't have a disc Xbox, right? And this was one of my old favourites from back in the day, and it was Rockstars Table Tennis. Anyone that knows me, you can understand why this would be near and dear to my heart. Still a great game.
Yeah,
holds up. I mean, it's really simple. It's just tournament mode, exhibition, practice. That's it.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, yes. There's you can choose from 10, not even real table tennis players. They're made up.
Okay,
but. I'm kind of shocked, even you see the character models, the graphics of them, for a 2006 game, it's shocking how well they hold up. It's kind of bizarre. Actually.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if maybe they've done some. It's like the whole Xbox. Oh, it's boosted slightly.
Okay.
I actually don't know. But anyway, it's great. Love it.
Rockstar Games, man. Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, table tennis.
Yeah.
The trifecta.
Gotta love Rockstar.
Well, was it Rockstar developed or was it just Rockstar published?
No, they developed it.
They developed it.
They've got.
Oh no,
they've
got tons of teams. I know they do.
Yeah.
I know they do. But I know they publish. Well, not publish because 2K is the publisher. But they've got.
I remember hearing, and I don't know how true this is, but I remember hearing back in the day definitively that it was the strong. I don't know if you call it a rumour. I just remember hearing that it was meant to be a test bed for the GTA engine that they obviously went on to use for GTA 4. Now, it feels nothing like controlling the characters in it, so I don't know.
Could just be the character models or the... I don't know.
But they look nothing like that engine either. So
yeah, no, that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
But I was happy to pay the $5 or whatever.
Of course.
Because it's just to have it around and occasionally jump in. It is definitely one of those jump in things that I will love having. It's been quite Game Passy / indie-ish again, as always with me. Visage, great horror game. Just really, really scary. Really hard as well, actually.
Okay.
I need to kind of sit down with that again and see actually what I need to do. But it's... I don't know, it's your typical kind of, it's in a house. It's quite PT-ish, actually.
Okay.
So, that's kind of all you need to say about that. The main one for me, though. Actually, no, I want to get out of the way the fact that I got my second ever Platinum Trophy. I thought that was pretty funny.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you told me about this.
7 years after my first one.
What was your first one again?
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, of course, yeah.
Which was basically...
just you complete the game.
Yeah. Not quite the case with this. I could have missed it. But because when I realised how easy it was to just go and do what you need to do, I thought I would do it.
Okay.
So this is actually another game that I bought, £1.50. Sagebrush. It was a pretty standard, one person made this game just adventure kind of walking simulator. Nothing actually happens in it. You just go and find the story, and that is it.
Okay.
Essentially, pretty standard religious cult affair.
All right.
I mean, you've seen this story being told in this exact way in games about 10 times.
Yeah.
It's just, it's an interesting visual style. It's like PS1 graphics, and for £1.50, it was
a platinum trophy for £1.50. How long did it take you?
3 hours.
That's pretty good.
I think it wasn't long.
Yeah, but I was thinking when it was like, oh, I got another platinum trophy. I thought it was like My Name Is Mayo or something, and you just like spammed square a couple of times and got a platinum trophy at the end of it.
No. You actually have to go and
you have to go out your way, as it were.
do the things.
Do the thing. Do the game.
Yeah, but it's not hard or long at all. So
that's what she said.
Yeah, well, indeed. And I guess since I rolled on with the me playing train, I'm just going to finish off.
Of course.
Just continuing on with that horrendous double entendre there.
Yes, of course.
Aside from the usual bits and bobs, that we actually played some stuff together, didn't we?
So we did.
For the first time in a long time.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Multiplayer gaming at its finest.
Couch co-op.
The Forgotten City.
Okay. Is this on Game Pass?
It is on Game Pass.
Okay.
I'm so glad for it, because I was really looking forward to playing this game. It wasn't a day one Game Pass. This has been out for not that long anyway. It's kind of strange. It's a game based on a Skyrim mod. It's interesting because it's like half the people that I know that play games know about this, and half have no idea what it is.
Well, I hadn't any clue about it when you were telling me about it earlier in the week.
Well, I was surprised at this because I thought it was one of these kind of quite zeitgeist, hot topic games that just everyone knew about.
Yeah.
But apparently not. But it's somewhat Skyrim in terms of like quest running and the way that the dialogue trees happen. I mean, obviously, it's based on that.
Yeah.
But it's a time loop game. Another time loop game, somehow.
We don't have enough of those right now.
Apparently, this is the time of the time loop.
This is the loop of the time of the loop of the time of the loop.
And I definitely like... I'm actually not... I'm being quite understated here. I fucking loved this game.
Okay.
To the point where I'm like, this could be a 10 for me.
Oh, wow.
It is so... Is it dog?
A dog yipped in the close.
It is so historically and philosophically rich. It was just so interesting to talk to all the NPCs.
Yeah.
And figure out what was going on and what you had to do. It was an adventure game essentially. Get the thing to be able to do the thing and loop around so that you can do it properly and find out more, piece it together. And it's based on this ancient Roman city.
Okay.
But it folds in ancient Greek and Sumerian and Egyptian stuff as well, and it all just plays out, and it's so well done.
Wow.
For what it is, and I love it. I'm so glad that games like this can exist for me, because this is pretty close to what I regard as my type of game these days.
So, I mean, I'll need to go look it up, but does it look and feel like Skyrim, or is it just
somewhat,
based off the mod?
It's a bit more. It's a bit more of like a refined-ish looking engine.
Okay.
Based on Skyrim, but kind of doesn't really matter because that doesn't.
Is there like combat and stuff, or is it
a little bit?
A little bit.
A little bit. But it's not important, the combat.
Cool.
So yeah, possibly a 10. Definitely a 9 though, that's for sure.
Okay, cool.
Loved it. I got 3 out of 4 of the endings, but I just couldn't quite seem to figure out how to get the last one. But it's that way where it's not that dissimilar to other ones anyway. So I'm like, I've seen enough.
You've seen enough. Yeah.
I've played it out. I think I got maybe no more than 10 hours.
Okay.
To do
well, you don't want to overstay. You don't want it to overstay its welcome. Because you could maybe find that going for that 4th one ends up knocking it down a peg. Not for any other quality, just then, I've played this bit or I've done that.
Oh no, I definitely got the full picture.
Cool. Yeah.
So that was fantastic. I'm so glad that I got to play that.
Nice.
Because I didn't realise it was coming to Game Pass, and when I saw it was, I was like, Oh, here we go. Yes, sirree. Give it to me.
Give it me.
Anyway,
Nice
your
one.
turn.
Well, we can sort of bridge the gap, as it were, with our cooperative games. We played some Overcooked the other night together, and that game is so stressful. Like it's
Meant to be.
It is meant to be, and it's kind of genius, like how simple it is, yet just the music starting to speed up, and you mess up right at the beginning, and you're like, nah, just start the level again. Like we've already ruined it, kind of thing. It was interesting fun. We played a good chunk of it, a couple of worlds.
I think it's just another one of those types of funny little games that.
Yeah.
We were one day or another we were going to get out of our system. I mean, we had played it before years ago.
Yeah.
But it was nice to get to play a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
And
then going on from my Tetris Effect conversation from the last episode, here's me thinking that I'm actually doing all right at Tetris, and then Lewis comes in and actually shows me how it's done. And I was watching him play, and it was kind of like Rain Man or something. When you're just like I could see your brain like computing. It was almost like the Matrix was like in front of your eyes, and you were just like just the tetraminos or whatever they are just flying into place. And
at least my synapses are good for something.
Well, that's it exactly. So it was impressive to watch. So I was about to say, if you can, just watch actual Pro Tetris, because I was thinking I was doing a good job, and then I realized I'm not even scratching the surface. So
it's interesting. It's I wouldn't. I'm definitely. I wouldn't say I'm pro level.
No, but
I'm advanced level.
Advanced level, but it's just I don't know. It was just kind of with these old arcade games. I'm like, surely there's only so far that they can be played, and then you realize maybe not. Can Pac-Man be played? Obviously, people can play Pac-Man really well, but does it look better? Most likely, yes. But, that's what I thought with Tetris. I was like, how much better can it, how much faster can it go? How much, and then you kind of proved me wrong.
Yeah. No, I love Tetris. Clearly,
absolutely.
Probably, I'm almost certainly better at that than I am at Pez. Which I don't think I realised until very recently.
Until I was like,
Well, because Craig beat me at Pez as well.
Oh, right.
And I was like, okay, right. Maybe this isn't the one that I'm best at. Tetris is the game I'm best at. Probably.
I don't know what the game I'm best at is. Oh. Anyway, so other than that, what I've been playing, it was kind of a quiet first week, in between the two. Just really anticipating the new Call of Duty coming out, so I played that quite a bit this weekend. Not as much as I'd have liked.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 or 12 hours or so this weekend.
Still a lot of hours over a weekend. Come on.
Well, the thing is, I've been super busy. I had 2 gigs this weekend, and I was working.
At least 3 hours a day.
Well, yeah. Maybe it's not as much as 12 hours.
I think I was saying to you...
No, it can't be as much as 12 hours.
The other day there, playing Forgotten City, and I got so into it. I think that was the first time that I had a session like that.
Yeah.
For a long time. Must have been about 5 hours in the one go.
Mm-hmm.
I basically can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
My eyes hate me. They crust over. I'm like, I just lose all track of reality if I do that stuff,
Yeah, so it can be as much as 12 hours. Maybe 8 or 9. However, it's really, really good. The reviews came out and they were quite middling, sort of sevens, all these things, right? How do we look at the reviews? And for the record, I've not touched the campaign yet. I'm going to, though. I'm looking forward to playing it. But so I've just played multiplayer, and they were saying that positives, multiplayer suite, really, really good, great feeling gunplay, this and that. The negatives, a fairly generic campaign, whatever, blah blah blah. I'm like, very short. Okay, so the bit that I'm only going to play once is the negative, and the positives are the bit that's actually going to keep me around. So it's almost like that 7 to me doesn't really encapsulate the reason I'm playing it, if that makes sense. So
COD reviews
It's
have
weird.
seemed pointless to me for years.
It's almost as if they should review each individual section separately.
Well, they do.
They do.
But it's like for a game that comes out every year and is the same thing every year, it's almost like the people that are playing it are COD players.
Yeah.
And they're going to play it anyway.
But I have to say that it's such an improvement on Cold War in terms of the feel of the guns.
Really?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Like, it just feels way better to play. And keep in mind, I was playing Cold War.
So that would be like how you've always joked to me about Pez from one year to the next, because I wouldn't notice.
Oh, no, you would. You would notice. With this one.
Are you sure?
100%. 100%. Like, it's night and day. And I'm not just saying that from us. I'm meaning purely even from just the way that things all look. The guns, even like the scopes, the way everything zooms in, the zoom levels, it is actually...
So it's like a different engine or what?
It's the Modern Warfare engine, so it's the Warzone. It feels just like Warzone.
Right, so it's the Warzone engine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, or an updated version of it. And that's why they're building the next Warzone map on this version of that engine, so it's all talking to each other. And
so it's
going
to
like
feel the same.
Yeah, so there's going to be a nice sort of because that's been the problem, is playing a lot of Warzone and wanting to jump over into Cold War, like a multiplayer suite to level up guns and stuff. It's just felt too like separate, even though they were like linked in terms of progression and stuff. It's just felt bad to play one game and really good to play the other, so I'd never find myself jumping back in. Maybe after the first month or so, I didn't really play much more.
There's zombies again, right?
There is zombies.
Is that there every year now?
No, this is the first time it's been 2 years in a row.
Right, okay.
Because Treyarch are making the zombies, or making the zombies mode. And I'm saying making the zombies mode because they haven't actually launched proper zombies mode yet. Right. So this has been a bit of a point of contention in the sort of COD fan base. And because the COD fan base is just really stupid, sorry Call of Duty fans, but you are, because you don't read anything. You just see a headline and you react, much like everyone else on Twitter. But so effectively what they've said is, like, COD players are like, the zombies is shite at launch, there's nothing to do, it's a really simple mode. Effectively it's just like you go into all the multiplayer maps and you just fight zombies in there, and then you like do objectives in each map, and you go back to like a hub world, and you can spend all your points and then go through another portal and do another, like almost like objectives kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is that it's Treyarch making the zombies, right? And what they've said is full zombies experience is coming at the launch of Season 1. At the moment, we're still on Season 6 of Cold War. That finishes in a couple of weeks. So when the new Warzone map comes out, the new zombies map comes out. So what they've done is, so it just shows that no one can be pleased, right? Because they've said full maps coming out, and then they've just finished up their support of their full game of Cold War and the zombies, which just got a new map on Cold War at the beginning of the season there. And they still had something ready for launch. Regardless of how simple, they had something ready for launch for it to tide people over, to get them unlocking camos, to get them leveling up guns, whatever. And then they've still said that the map is coming soon, very soon, in the next like 3 weeks. And people are still like, zombies is really disappointing this year. And you're like, no, it's not. You're just stupid. Like, read an article, like past the headline, because that's all it is. Anyway, zombies isn't my thing. I'll jump into it here and there. Like, it's a fun distraction. But the multiplayer suite, they've launched it with, well, for context, they launched Cold War with 8 multiplayer maps. They've launched this with 16. So, and there's not one I don't like. There's one that's like not, like you can tell isn't quite as balanced and as good as the others. But other than that, I love all the maps.
Well, that's good really, for really you. Good.
Oh, 100%. So,
you'll feel like you're getting your money's worth.
Oh, 100%, definitely. No question about that there. Like, I've already enjoyed playing something that's like just silly things like leveling up guns, unlocking camos. Like, I've had everything leveled up from those games. I mean, this will happen with this one, that I'll get to a point where I've leveled everything up. But the main issue was that when new content was coming out in the last Warzone season, I wasn't going back into Cold War to unlock and level these guns up. I was just like going into plunder in Warzone and leveling them up because I hated playing Cold War. Whereas now, at least when something new comes out every season, I will want to go back to the game because it feels good and it feels like Warzone, and so it's starting to feel more like a unified experience. And what's even more impressive is that much like a lot of games coming out just now, the majority of this Call of Duty was work from home, made from home.
Wow,
which is really impressive for
how they do that.
I don't know how, but for how a couple of bugs at launch with the multiplayer suite, just like random, packet loss and little latency issues and stuff, things that happen at the beginning of all online games to some extent, expected, but not nearly as bad as even Call of Duty's in the past. And I find that even more impressive because they did that from home as well. So I'm pleasantly surprised. Looking forward to playing more of it and leveling more stuff up. It's good fun. Also, the camos look really nice in it. Like, there's so many nice looking camos on it, so I'm chuffed.
Spoken like a true COD fan.
Spoken like a true dork.
COD aficionado.
Oh wow, a codfish.
Yeah, there you go. That actually works out quite well because it's shorthand for cod aficionado,
and it's also cod's a fish.
Because of course I'm it's a play on coficionado, which is the term for coffee aficionados.
Is that what it is? Okay, I thought you were just saying aficionado, but cod aficionado. So
no,
that's it. Okay,
I don't think it was me who
that works
on
on many levels. Then that was good.
Yeah, that's what we aim for.
We've coined a phrase.
In all seriousness, though.
Yes.
Sorry, is that your last?
That's my last thing.
Right, because that's actually, it's quite poignant. Some of the things you said about Call of Duty there, and kind of almost like the struggle to review it.
Yes.
Because it's a yearly thing, and I feel like obviously, so a part of the Call of Duty package is Warzone,
of course,
which is a free-to-play game.
Oh, what a segue!
And well, I think. Part of one of my kind of thoughts I had on that, it just seems like a good segue, is that, well, they're kind of hard to review, aren't they?
Yes.
You can't really review free-to-play games in the modern sense because they're like evolving. I mean, you can. So one of the other things that I was going to go on and talk about, of course, was, and I had to fit this in there, was eFootball.
Okay, yeah. And
you saw some outlets trying to review it, but I'm like, why?
Yes.
It's clearly not, there's hardly anything there. Of course it's going to be a 1 out of 10. Not least because, it's bare bones and there's barely anything there, but because of what's there is absolute trash anyway.
Yes.
But yeah, I just think that's an interesting point to get us rolling on. Well, is the nature of them. Like,
what are they?
What is anyway? There's an existential crisis as it relates to free-to-play games and their worth.
So, if you've not read the title of the episode, we're going to be sort of talking about free-to-play games here. It kind of continues on from our last episode, which was obviously about Battle Royale games, of which a lot of its success can be attributed to the fact that many of them have been free-to-play. So that's kind of where we wanted to pick up from. In terms of that aspect of reviewing free-to-play games, or, I mean, as a slight segue, like live service games in general.
Well, if you think, for free-to-play platforms, a lot the popular ones these days, it is kind of a mindset of you just dive in, not really knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
Because for the vast majority of my time playing in my gaming career, I've always really appreciated professional, the real critics.
The critics.
And just reading and watching all these things that they have to say, just to basically be informed about the games that I'm interested in and get a really full picture. I think because that's where professional reviewing is a lot more. It is because games are kind of more objective than like films, music,
yes,
TV shows. They're much more subjective and harder to score.
Yeah,
I'd say games are easier to score. So I've always been right into the review culture.
Well, the fact that, I mean, you remember the numbers, like, oh, that
That
has
used to be a thing for me, yes.
average of that on Metacritic, you know?
Yeah, I've been quite obsessive about
Yeah.
stuff like that, with data over the years, and
Yes.
just you know, getting a real temperature of, well, you know, these guys are professionals for a reason.
Yeah.
So my point is, when it's come to the free-to-play games, and I mean, they've been around for a while now, obviously. I mean,
course.
one of my examples is, obviously, with the launch of the PS4, is really when I kind of became quite first aware of them. So you had Warframe.
Yes,
which
of
is
course.
still going.
Which is still, and it's popular.
It's been evolved, because I think that was also something that was quite almost shunned at first, kind of maligned.
So this is kind of that brings me to an interesting point. How do you review a free to play game?
Well,
like
exactly.
that? But
So
I don't know how this works with Metacritic and things like that, because obviously the reviews that go up there are the reviews that set the score. But I know for a fact on IGN, on whatever, you know, YouTube uploads and stuff, and articles, they will re-review these games because it's only fair. Warframe 2020 is a very different game from Warframe in 2013 or whenever it launched. So there's a couple other ones that I can't quite remember the name of just now, but I've actually, when they come up, I'm actually quite interested to watch them, even if I've got no real desire in playing the game, but just because I like to see how far something comes. In terms of completely not free to play, but we'll kind of come and talk about the issues in a moment. But Star Wars Battlefront 2 had to get re-reviewed because they completely changed, not the gameplay, but they completely changed the whole monetization system, the microtransactions, the pay-to-win element, which is obviously some things that we'll be talking about in that there. But that was a full-priced game with those elements, and it was re-reviewed like 2 years later and got a higher score because the core of the game was, excellent. It was really, really good, and it had its community, especially when they started listening to the fans and kind of was almost, their arm was twisted. You know, it was forced. Oh, the pop shield has fallen. Oh
God, this is like the first time since it's gone on.
Do you remember how to do it?
Well, I don't really know why it's.
It's just gonna be.
Oh man, it's okay. Shit, I think it's broken.
Oh, it's broken.
I'll just put it off.
Yes.
It's fine.
Sorry for your. Watch your P's and Q's.
I'll get one of those things.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
It was annoying me recently, anyway. So
yes. It was its fault. So yeah, re-reviewing. What I wanted to kind of start. It was a good segue into to where we were talking about there. But I kind of wanted to talk about, at least in myself, in my own personal experience, like what obviously free to play is, you know, a term, because there is obviously money can be put into the game. It's free to, some games are free to start, or, free to play. You can play the game no bother, but you will be bombarded with options to spend real life money, whether that's, cosmetic or pay to win, or certain maps and levels. There's a whole wide variety, and it really depends on. But years ago, if you were to ask me what I thought of free games, not like PlayStation Plus, but I'm talking before, my mind immediately would go to like demos and demo discs and stuff like that.
Right.
Which is obviously like very, very different to what we've got, because those were obviously demos for full games that you would spend money on. But that was kind of where my mind went, was just like, oh, it's a way to try a game. If you heard the word free, that's free. You get it with your Kellogg's box and stuff like that. So that's obviously not anything to do with.
There's very little value that was placed on the concept of a free game before the last 10 years was laughed at. It was like, oh, well, games aren't free.
Exactly, of course.
Come on now.
Of course, absolutely. And that, and you could argue that the demo is a free to start game. You know what I mean? which is a term that obviously exists.
Well, you've seen certain games do the thing of, well, yeah, you download it and
in its entirety.
You get the demo and then get to the end of it and be like, well, do you want to pay to unlock the full experience?
Your save data's still going to be here, and it'll just keep going right now if you just give us $60, you know. Which
makes sense.
Of course. Oh no, absolutely. I think that's fair, because that is consumer friendly at the end of the day, and that's, you know, it's I suppose that's maybe a point that we can talk about, is what is consumer friendly and what is not. What is consumer unfriendly?
Yeah, no,
because this, you know, a free game can be consumer friendly, and it, you know, especially in the past, less so now, I'd say, can be quite unfriendly to the consumer in a multitude of ways.
Well, I'm going to actually use this opportunity in the middle here to drop my big controversial statement of the podcast.
Okay.
I largely think free-to-play games exist purely to exploit children.
Right, I'm glad you said that, because that's one of my points.
Seriously, because clearly developers or publishers more likely cottoned on to the fact that, even if like the parents are aware that this is a way that you can put money into games, okay, so it's like you pay more within the game, but then because they're still going to be quite unaware of how it all works and stuff, their kids will maybe just be able to take it as far as they can in terms of, can you get me this and that's because of this and that, and they don't really know what they're buying their child. It's just meaningless digital fluff that is being added onto this. And, you know, because the enticing part is the fact that the platform is free to begin with.
Of course. Well, it's parents aren't going to have a
problem. Hey, look at this thing, it's free, but inside you pay. And obviously you've heard there's all the stories of kids paying thousands and...
Well, I mean, this goes so far back. It's almost like it's just like never learned from, because, you know, obviously the free to play game was mobile games. It was the App Store.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for exploiting children, monetarily wise. There might be on the dark web for other things, but almost definitely is. Sorry, because there's an app for everything. When the iPhone launched, when the App Store launched, in the first place, your games were not doing this. You know, I mean, like they weren't monetized this way. Most of your apps were free, if not, they were like £1.99. So there was a cost.
Basic games,
Fruit Ninja, Doodle Jump, and the only obtrusive thing that was really coming in with a lot of these was ads. It was just, you know, click, you know, ads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's obviously where free to play started. Was this? There was obviously a turning point.
Well, I think
where they went, oh wait a minute, we can charge with in-game purchases. What's the first thing that you were aware of that had in-app purchases? Whether it was pay to win or just cosmetic or something.
The pay to win type thing in terms of, you can buy this many coins to get to this point. The one that sticks out to me that I can remember that was a big thing 10 or so years ago, Jungle Run. Was it Jungle Run?
Temple Run.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, no, because that was definitely, it was that type of one where it was like, we know you're addicted to this, and if you just pay $7.99, you can get this little packet of stuff because we know you can't put this thing down. God help anyone who's enough of a sucker to actually...
I was about to ask if you had...
Of course not.
Okay.
I've never bought anything like that in a game ever, and I never intend to.
I've only very recently with Warzone.
The Battle Pass, but that's slightly different, right?
It's purely cosmetic. There's no pay to win elements with it,
right?
You know, there's...
So I mean, if cosmetics in games matter to you, then by all means.
Yeah, I mean, they don't overly matter to me, but there's just a couple of times where it's made, you know, very little financial input, you know,
Impact?
Impact, that's the
I
word.
don't know.
No, it's because it's been like a pound here and there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind, I've got the disposable income to do it, but that's not something that I, my first example that I could really think of where I was like, oh, the game is designed in such a way where you can play it. Of course, yeah, you know what? It's totally free. You don't need to spend money. You're going to have a terrible time playing the game if you don't.
Yeah.
But you don't need to. You can just grind for many hours. And that was the Simpsons Tapped Out. Did you ever play it?
No.
But do you understand the concept of it?
Yeah,
it's effectively like you build the town of Springfield, and you get access to new cast members come in, and you can set them to do tasks, and it takes real time to do them. So if you set someone to do a task for 24 hours, you would need to wait 24 hours in real time.
Yeah.
So if you really wanted to play the game and build the town up, and not take a year of actual time, you could buy like gems or something. Just really generic, like.
Question then, because this is obviously quite similar in terms of what it is. Is there microtransactions for similar things in Animal Crossing?
No.
Right, but you do see examples of games where
because you can cheat that system.
Right.
By changing your.
But that's a game that has been paid. You pay to get in the door. So it's the games that have that on top of you paying already for the game.
Yes,
that's another controversial thing.
That's your Star Wars Battlefront 2. When that launched, it was absolutely pay to win because it would take you
heinous
40 hours of gameplay to unlock Darth Vader. Or you can just pay a little bit of extra money. Darth Vader, come on, the villain.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's awful.
Yeah,
that's awful. And it was, and also, I mean, from that comes obviously the segueing in because it was part of it, and this was one of the main problems, especially with it being a full price game at the time. But even in your free things, Overwatch did it. Obviously not free. Call of Duty did it for a while, and that was the loot boxes, and that's kind of where and FIFA Ultimate Team, card packs and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of another big grey area with this is, would you deem that as gambling?
Well, yeah, of course. There's been talk of
because that's obviously a big discussion point.
There's been talk of legally something being done about the way microtransactions are handled in games because of it being quite exploitative and addictive. It's a hard one because obviously there's clearly been nothing stopping game publishers going wild. And honestly, it's hilarious because FIFA, as an example, would be able to get by making their thing free to play and just running off the Ultimate Team stuff.
Of course, absolutely.
Which is crazy to me. But of course they don't do that because they're, EA are so greedy that we're just going to keep charging £60 every year because you're all buying it anyway. Yeah. Why would we not? Why would we?
I don't blame them. Why wouldn't they? Like
it's honestly hilarious, and it's just so hard for me to relate because without trying to sound like some sort of just hyper aware elitist that is above these things, I just can't relate to the culture of sort of gambly or pay to win or I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me in any way.
No, like genuinely the pay to win element, absolutely not. We've spoken about it on the podcast before. Assassin's Creed designing side quests in such a boring way and then introducing an XP booster. On a single player game, that as a microtransaction. Maybe this episode is free to play and microtransactions, but no, it's still going to be free to play because it's just to show you how the free to play market has influenced full price games, which is just atrocious. Now, you're saying obviously that publishers are still having a good whack at the gambling element, and there is obviously a lot with obviously FIFA Ultimate Team not downplaying its significance and its importance to FIFA, but the companies that were doing it more again, just talking about Call of Duty or whatever, have taken a total step back from that. If you buy something in Call of Duty, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
There is no random chance element. The only random chance element that for cosmetic things is those free bundles that sometimes pop up in the store, and they're free. There's no cost to those for a wee charm or a sticker or something, you know. Nothing. So it's one of these things where that's where, if it's going to be there, like a monetization option, especially for something like Warzone, it's already free. That's awesome, because that's a free to play game that you have been able to put 6 days into. Totally. And not feel at all bombarded. I mean, things come up as a wee, news update on the new store item or something like that, but you can ignore it quite easily.
That is, that's why, and it's why I've also spoke about it as much as I have, because it's an anomaly for me, because I never ever thought I would get into that type of game ever.
No. Me either.
I just thought, before I got into Warzone, I was like, okay, I'm approaching that, old man shouts at cloud thing. I just do not care what the kids are doing these days.
Yeah.
All these different models of game, it's so beyond me. I'm just like, I'm just not even going to bother now.
Yeah.
Because I used to, growing up, I would keep up with all the latest trends in gaming. But there was a point where something did sort of change in terms of what was really popular in the zeitgeist, because I would go through spells of dropping off gaming a fair bit in recent years, and then I would look back into the news and be like, I don't even know what half of this means anymore.
Yeah.
And it's only just within the last couple of years, that we've kind of got quite back into games and watching all the things and keeping up with things, where I sort of understand everything again.
Yes,
for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
But when all this kind of it's Fortnite free to play.
Fortnite's free to play.
Right. So was it to begin with?
Yes. Well, as a battle royale, yes, it's always been free.
Right. So yeah, it shows you I still, because I care so little
over that. Of course,
I'm still not totally sure.
Now, the question is,
but the thing is, when all that stuff first cropped up, I didn't know what was going on.
Yes.
I was like, what's the catch? Because surely free games are terrible. Surely. That was my mindset.
Yeah, of course. Well, because there was never before that any free-to-play... Well, I'm not saying never, because Warframe fans are going to come at us in the comments, but all 4 of them.
0.3 of them.
Oh, we're angering them. I don't know anyone that plays it, but anyway.
Well, that's the chance of.
But before Fortnite and stuff, because even PUBG, we spoke about that last week, is obviously in the battle royale conversation. But even PUBG was charged. It was Fortnite that went free to play. But I can't think of any game that was free before that really, took the world by storm, as it were. There will have been tons of examples that have a healthy player base, but it's not as... It's a fairly recent phenomenon for there to be high quality free to play games.
I think you maybe saw the odd instance of something meme that just happened to be very accessible. The one that comes to mind when I say that is some number of years, at least 10, I think. But it was the original Slender game. Okay, yeah. But obviously that was browser based, I think.
Well, browser, I mean, that's its own topic, really, is mini clip and all these.
Yeah.
But these the Flash games that then influence the App Store, and then the App Store then mutates into free to play microtransactions, that race to the bottom, just shovelware, and then that then influences the digital marketplace on consoles. So it's
even before that. I mean, crazy. Just the idea of getting media for free. Obviously, this is following on from the Napster era with music, and it was the big furore about that. And
yep.
Just I guess
what's the catch?
Yeah, what's the catch? And I guess
maybe that's the quote. Maybe that's the tagline of the episode. Free to play.
What's the catch?
There
you go.
that's what it is.
The title is within the content.
It's like when you listen to a song and it's the end of the chorus is just like And this is the title of the song. Or a movie where they say the name of the movie.
Yeah. That's always a more fun.
It's a bit more common.
Because it's
obviously,
usually in the song.
No, but not all, no. But what I mean is, I'm talking like I'm thinking old country songs that just
right, okay.
the chorus always just finishes with like, and that's why I'm in jail. And the song's just that.
That's why I'm in jail.
This song's called "That's Why I'm in Jail," or country songs that like this song's called "I Shot My Man with a 9-gauge shotgun." I shot my man with it, and it's just like it's just the first line of the song.
And he lived to tell the tale.
And he lived to tell the tale.
Anyway, back on track. Can't remember what the track was now.
No, anyway, let's see here what I've got. So obviously mobile games and stuff like that. So from here, I'm thinking.
Well, So I did have a sort of philosophical question about this thing.
Yes.
So if free-to-play games sort of rely on microtransactions, right? In some level or element, because how else do you monetize it, right? If obviously the likes of Call of Duty can do it because it's almost like the Microsoft situation with Game Pass. They can do it because they can.
Yes.
They'll never lose. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Financially, they're capable of doing it, and they've also figured out the way to make people pay for things in that model anyway. So they're totally fine. Mm-hmm. But you can't really see. It's not really it can't really be a thing. Because if you're like an indie developer, it's clearly not an option.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. Because
how would you ever make money?
Well.
Because if you don't make
because it does have to be in cosmetics and like a battle pass system or something. If it's like a live service thing, sure. I'm just thinking like Splitgate is free just now. That's a small team.
I was trying to avoid Splitgate because it's not obviously reached a kind of wide full release yet.
Of course, it is still in beta, but there is microtransactions. There is cosmetic packs, so they're obviously very influenced.
And is that all that's there?
Battle pass and cosmetics, yeah, and coins.
To me, it's like, who's paying for this? Why would you ever want to do this?
Well, I kind of get
it. If you
can
play a game and enjoy it and never have to pay anything for it, happy days. It just feels like theft.
For sure, absolutely. And I mean, at the end of the day, I could easily have played all of Warzone without ever spending a penny.
I'm just wondering how this model evolves.
Of course,
or stays viable because
what do they need to do? Because I mean, the way it's kind of evolved since, like, again, not to sound like a broken record, but we need to talk about these big games like Call of Duty because these are the guys that have had the microtransactions in the console space for the longest, not free to play necessarily, but microtransactions wise, in the past, it was map packs, it was DLC maps, new multiplayer maps. That obviously came with an added cost, a microtransaction.
And the argument at the time was, developers holding back content so they can charge. But how true is that for everything,
I don't think so. I think obviously...
The ultimate, original, hilarious example was, of course, in Oblivion with the horse armor.
Of course, yeah.
Which is just like, come on now. This is the worst DLC of all time.
I know, but that was so... Because that's DLC, obviously, downloadable content. That's its own thing. But in time since, because Call of Duty knows, Fortnite all this and that by providing everything with the gameplay of these free-to-play games, it's free. A new map comes out for Warzone. It's not charged. Yeah. It's going to be free. Even in the paid and Vanguard, there's maps coming out, in future seasons. They'll be free or at no extra cost to your initial purchase. So it's clearly the trend is because they could have absolutely continued on with, yes, our cosmetic stuff is here, the battle pass is here, and if you want the new maps, you still need to buy it as a DLC pack. And they could have absolutely done that.
Yeah.
I'm glad they haven't, You know, I can jump into more content all the time. But that's obviously something that they've seen as a viable option to effectively put development time. They're not making any more money on that because it takes, obviously they need to develop these maps. They need to develop the guns and balance, and, you know, that's obviously that live service model. But live service, you know, you look at Destiny. Destiny does it differently. Obviously it's got cosmetic things. Base game Destiny's free to play.
Yeah.
Not at launch. So it was a down the line thing. And to get new stories and content, it's paid for. So
makes sense.
You can, but that's, you could have seen Call of Duty do that, but they didn't. You could have seen Destiny go, here's the free story content, but also here's a battle pass. Here's cosmetics.
Yeah, no.
Why work? Why does one work? I suppose maybe because it's more of a PvE game with Destiny rather than PvP.
I mean, I really think it depends. You could sort of almost argue that Hitman kind of went that route as well, because you can download the app now,
of course,
and it's all modular.
So
you can download all three of them or bits of it.
But do you still not need to
it.
buy? You can't play anything on the Hitman 3 launcher without owning.
I mean, I think you can play like the tutorial
or something. Okay,
and that's about it. And maybe a training
free to start.
Right, so that's like the kind of demo type thing.
Of course.
But yeah, no, you can see things happening a bit more like that in terms of you download the platform for free and it's a modular thing.
Yeah.
And it's maybe the case that, you know, in years to come, when more and more people go on to just like services like Netflix for games type thing, and because that becomes almost like the standard in terms of consuming games, that because there's so many on those services now that you see more free to play kind of games because they maybe get a cut of it.
Yep. Aye.
Maybe. I'm just trying to think.
I'm trying to. You know, I think the future of it is quite interesting. Like, what's your opinion? So, you see, obviously, EA Play, Ubisoft Plus, or whatever it is, PlayStation Now, Xbox Game Pass. You know, all these libraries and things. Can you see a future, or is there anything just now? Free to play game, monthly cost, pricing model
just a game.
For a game, but it's a live service game. It is one of these games. It's one of these games as a lifestyle games, right?
They tried that with Elder Scrolls Online, didn't they? Originally, you
that?
had to pay for the game, and then it was a monthly subscription.
Was it?
Oh yes, that went down like
Fallout
a lead balloon.
76.
Yeah,
that had that Fallout First program. You didn't need that to play it, though. In fairness, but it was
So these things clearly haven't worked. Just
no,
now.
they won't have. Absolutely.
I can't see it.
No, I'm not saying I can either. I'm just thinking like of possibilities, because people have clearly been greedy enough already. But would you have imagined 15 years ago that you'd be playing Halo
for one game? It would need to be such a low cost.
It would need to be such a low
cost. It would be
cost.
so risky. Like, I'm talking £5 or less a month for a single
100%,
game.
100%. No, I'm only bringing it up because people have said that about Warzone. Is that, like, you know, the streamers have said, like, oh, make it a subscription, like a low cost of entry but subscription model, so that because the main issue with the cheater problem in Warzone is that they just get banned, so they just make a new account because it's free.
Funny thing is, it's like Call of Duty is such a lifestyle thing. They're maybe the only one that could get away with it.
FIFA could.
Maybe.
FIFA could if they, because it is also a lifestyle game, I would say, because there's people
if they maybe readjusted how you were able to get packs and stuff.
Well, yeah, you would get, you know, Ultimate Team, and the way that FIFA would need to do it is that they would need to scrap the £60 entry fee. No, but you know what I mean.
What a world!
But make it £5 a month, so they're still at the end of the day getting £60.
FIFA as a platform just updates.
A FIFA platform, and then the new.
Well, it's going to be FIFA 2K now.
What? There you go. And
well, anyway, let's not get into that.
EA Foot.
FC or whatever.
And but then £5 a month, roster updates regularly, you know, as in like totally up to date with all trades and all everything, you know. I don't know kind of how it works.
Well,
and then per month you get 5 bundles of
Ultimate Team cards, and you can then go and buy more if you still wanted to.
And I think this is kind of what Konami were hoping to
yeah.
do with eFootball, and it has backfired so spectacularly.
But that doesn't tell me that couldn't work.
No, of course,
It's because the foundation of it.
This is fully a case of Konami being incompetent with how they've gone about this. Hilariously so. Tragically so.
Tragically so, absolutely.
Because, and I do harbour some resentment towards free-to-play as a thing because it has killed one of my favourite franchises. And literally, it's 6 feet under.
Whereas, weirdly, on the flip side, is that it's actually helped me discover an enjoyment in an online FPS, which is it's just how it's where you were before to where you are now. How has free to play affected you?
But that's the thing. It's like it really does depend massively on the circumstances, because I could have seen coming 100 miles off.
Yeah.
If you told me, Pez is going to go free to play, the second you say that to me, I'm like, so the game's going to turn to trash. Mm-hmm. It's going to be worse to play. It's going to look worse. It's going to be like the detail's going to go down. The features are going to become worse or less or whatever. Of course that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Because I think because Konami are not Activision and they're not EA, they aren't able to just provide a high quality foundation. Like, they couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
It was destined to be awful.
So effectively,
it's like you can't.
There's a stipulation with the success of a free to play game, bar some circumstances.
The way the industry is just now, the circumstances have to align for it to make sense.
And that comes with the quality in the team, the money behind it,
And even then, it's quite a existential, philosophical question of subjectivity in terms of, well, is this just shallow, soulless gaming, or is there a lot of value in there? Mm-hmm. Is it all this kind of stuff? And obviously, for me, in the way that I like to consume stuff, I definitely lean towards the side of leave it. It's not really the sort of thing I'm into. I'm not.
So what's interesting to me,
it kind of is quite soulless to me, but
what's interesting to me though is you kind of don't fall on either side of the spectrum. You're kind of in an odd camp in the middle I have gotten value out of Warzone. Obviously. But less that and more, free to play as a concept, bar a couple of outlier examples, is like don't want anything to do with it, and then
largely so.
And then you would think the flip side of that is just go to full price games, but then there's that element of the cost of full. There's this. We've had this discussion.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's a. Of course, there has to be nuance in between. You can't just go from I only play free games or I only pay exclusively full price for my games. Of course, there's a middle ground, but it's interesting that you would think that would be the flip side.
Well, it's this is the thing, because I think what's in the public eye and what gets discussed is all of the stuff about the big AAA, oh god, they're £70 now kind of games and the problems that come with that, or the free to play stuff and Warzone being its thing and Fortnite, and it's like these two very bright shining ends of the spectrum, and actually there is still everything else in the middle.
There is.
This is what I mean. You have to just go out and carve out your own path, which is exactly what I'm doing. Like
exactly.
I maybe to a fault, I'm like kind of in this middle part of, well, I'm always looking for the best deal.
Of course.
Like, how little can I pay and get away with, but still get something that's, of substance.
That could just be who you are as a person as well.
Oh no, absolutely.
In all facets of life.
But I'm just glad that stuff still exists, because I guess my point is, it is easy to see either side of those other things being shallow in a lot of respects, because even when I think of, as an example, you brought up the way Destiny do it.
Yes.
To me, I'm just like, yeah, I kind of just see a generic game there where they're just going to fart out another bit of story that is like, rah, rah, the Sentinel is coming to shoot you in the face. Great, let's go shoot him in the face. Like, it's just a generic game to me, so I'm not interested in all that kind of stuff. Or maybe that's more of a to give you an impression of why I'm not interested so much. And I just think that that does sort of influence things, because, you know, if we can somehow relate this back to eFootball, it's killed, it's ripped the soul out of that as a football entity. It's gone. And that is because it went free to play.
Yep. Just jumped onto the free to play section of the PlayStation Store on my mobile device here.
Because there is a section now.
There is a section. Yeah, well, I mean, it's you go down to it's PS5 games, PS4 games, all deals, add-ons, free to play. Before VR, you know what I mean? Fortnite, Rocket League, good example.
It went free to play.
So that's the thing. It went free to play. It didn't release free to play. I mean,
only because it was so successful.
Well, that's the only reason. Apex Legends launched free to play, which, as we spoke about last week, was key to its success. eFootball is up there near the top.
Shouldn't be.
Destiny 2 we've spoken about. Splitgate we've kind of spoken about. But here's where you get into your slightly more kind of generic looking and feeling free to play games. So Enlisted, Rogue Company, Warframe, War and Thunder. What's the tanks one? You know the
Army of Tanks.
World of Tanks.
World of Tanks.
Smite.
Shite.
But what's interesting here, Fallout Shelter. I mean, that's just microtransactions. The video game.
Was it really?
Oh yeah. Like, you can still play it, but it's a mobile game. It's a mobile game.
I didn't know that. Well, I knew that.
So it's.
I didn't realize they turned it into more of a thing. I thought it was just like a
it's like
funny
little. It's like Simpsons Tapped Out.
Oh.
So it's like you wait real time, or you can spend to speed things up.
Well, it's Bethesda. It doesn't surprise me.
But actually, what's interesting in there's so much in the free to play section that does look like that App Store. Disney's Frozen Free Fall Snowball Fight.
Well, it's the same thing all over again.
You know what I mean? But then so much. There's actually quite an interesting thing as you go to the free to play section. A lot of episodic games, Life is Strange, Telltale's Batman.
So you'll
get the first episode of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
That's good.
That's fine.
That is good.
But not the same thing though.
It's not the same thing. That's the equivalent of a demo. You know, I would absolutely say. Is there anything else that sort of stands out? There's some misleading ones as well in there, like Madden 21, and you're like, is it? No, you'll probably get like access to like one game, and that's it. And then
interestingly, because I think I have brought this up, but because there are other, again, to go back to the football thing, there are new football games coming.
Yes.
And I think
one is free to play.
At least one of these other new ones that are coming up are going to be free to play. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually go about it in terms of making money and how just the baseline quality of it.
I don't have faith in that. I know I'm not a football game player, but I've not got faith, because if Konami couldn't do it with, how many years has PES been on the go?
Oh, I mean, yeah.
No, but they've got a strong foundation of PES, and they throw it in the trash to start again. I can't imagine
a big part of
newcomer.
It is that something went wrong.
Yeah,
because if you remember that it was not meant to be this when they announced it 2 years ago.
No, you were saying, yeah.
Who knows what happened behind the scenes at Konami? Whoever knows?
It'd be very interesting to find out one day.
Because obviously they did a whole terrible thing with Kojima. Behind the scenes there must be hilarious sometimes. But I don't know. I know what you're saying, and I think there's a good chance that they will also fail.
FIFA's too powerful.
Yeah. It's going to be so interesting, the landscape of football. Who would have guessed just a year ago that it was going to be so up in the air.
Yeah.
Like, FIFA is going to be like, oh no, we're going to 2K because they'll give us $1 billion for the license.
They don't make a football game, do they?
No,
No.
they never have. No, that's right. No.
Yeah.
So that would be very interesting. And then apparently it's going to just be EA still doing their own thing, but with less licenses. Like EA Sports FC apparently is the rumor.
Oh, I hate that. I heard that as well.
Yeah, and then there'll be UFL, I think it is, and goals, just goals. And then apparently football, if it actually sticks around, who knows?
There you go.
So yeah.
What was my subtitle again? Free to play.
What's the catch?
What's the catch? That's it there.
Yeah.
What's the catch?
If nothing else, it's given me an interesting food for thought in terms of thinking about where football games are going.
Well, no, absolutely. But I think the way I would sum it up, in conclusion, there was a dicey period in console gaming, which is obviously where we're focused in. Mobile gaming still an absolute dumpster fire of microtransactions and stuff. Mm-hmm. I like that, you see it in the conferences, like in this game, all post-launch content will be free. So it's like, there's obviously this, the publishers are like now trying to play nice and be like, don't worry, you're gonna get so much stuff. Like, it's all good. And it's purely cosmetic. And they will say, like, any microtransactions are just purely cosmetic. It's not pay to win. So they know there was this period of time where everyone was just trying to get away with pay to win with microtransactions and things like that.
Yeah.
And they've all kind of learned their lesson and settled into this consumer friendly. Let's say. Aware consumer friendly, because there still is the problem of the kids getting the parents' credit card and racking up £1,000 in Fortnite V-Bucks and stuff like that. So it's not to say that there's not a slight predatory aspect to children, but myself, I'm free thinking enough to not feel like I need to, or if I want to, it's my decision to do it, because I'm happy with it just being customizable. I'm happy with it being cosmetics.
Yeah.
I think that's the way. I don't know where we spoke about. I don't know where it could go. I don't know how you change that. Destiny obviously has its cosmetic stuff, and story content is paid for.
It's a weird one with the games industry at the moment, isn't it?
Well,
it does sort of feel like a bit of a plateau.
What's Assassin's Creed?
Well, they were talking
service.
about
what's their live service? I'm just dinged. We all got. It's so funny. I'm logged in on my Apple ID on the laptop you're recording on the iMac here. My phone's here, and my watch just went off with one text. There you go.
A question from the person in the other room.
Who's in the other room? Who could just wait until we're done? Like, just remember the question, Kerry, and wait till I'm done, and then literally talk to me in person.
Yeah.
I know Sam's recording just now, but anyway. It's my fault. I should have had my do not disturb on, but anyway, not that matters. So I don't know where it can go from here. Like, obviously, Assassin's Creed's going to do its thing. What do you think that? I mean, it's going to be awful.
Well, listen. I mean, just out of sheer curiosity, just obviously based on our history with that, it's that way where if they genuinely launch some sort of free to download live service thing that is what Assassin's Creed is. What was it, the code name again? Life or something?
Something like that.
As always, it's worth trying.
Of course. It's no skin off your...
But to me, it's especially because it's Ubisoft, I'm like, it's a very good chance I'm going to take it no further.
Oh, 100%.
So,
are they going to go the route of story content's free? And that's the thing, though. I think that it needs to be PvP for it to run on cosmetics only. That's kind of what I discovered. Fortnite and COD.
Surely you would think that they are going to do a bit of the Destiny model.
I would say they'd have to do the Destiny model.
But then it could go either way, because it could allow them to focus a bit more and know what they're working with and create good stories that bite-sized, even maybe different eras or whatever.
Yep.
Maybe that's what they'll do. or it could be what I think is more likely, where it will just the quality of that single player content will get even worse.
Because it can evolve, you would think. Because once that game is released, it needs to fit into the parameters of that engine.
Well, until and unless they release a 2.0 app, which is a new engine or whatever, and 5 years later, but these are the questions that we have.
But then, but what happens to my content that I've just spent all that money on in the first version of the game? You know,
It'll carry over. I don't know. This will all be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yep.
The skeptic in me, and quite honestly, the Ubisoft hater in me, says that if they do that and it plays out kind of like what we're describing, the £8 or £10 campaign that you go and, we're going to Constantinople 1582, it'll suck.
Yeah.
Because they won't put effort into it. It'll just be like, here's your quarterly thing that's a tenner, give us a tenner.
And because, exactly.
They'll just be that, just give us the money. Please, give us the money.
We've had to design this whole map. We forgot to put anything worthwhile in there, but we designed a new map, so there still has to be a charge for it. You know what I mean? And
this all feeds into my issues with gaming these days. It's like there's a lot to love, but there's so much for me to hate.
Yeah.
It's all about it being soulless. It's like, is this art? I don't think this is art. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
But whatever. That's just me.
So, free to play games. There you go. We're never going to talk about mobile games. This is the equivalent of us talking about App Store games.
Oh, I mean,
who cares?
The days of Flappy Bird are over.
I will actually give props to Apple Arcade. I think they do a good job. That's a subscription service where it is mobile games, but there's no in-app purchases. They're games. It's effectively like a bunch of indie games. Netflix are doing the same. Yeah,
they're on.
So there is the mobile space is getting saved by these things, I think. So, or not that they'll get saved to the point where they're incredible, but just that, you know, if you're wanting high quality games on the go on your phone, there are options there, which is good. So I think that's
it's a bit more bite-sized just now, but we'll obviously keep our finger on the pulse and let you know how it's going.
Well, I'll keep you as up to date as I can possibly be bothered.
Dear listeners.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today in our discussion. Ended up going a little bit better than I thought as well, which is
slightly messy, but not our messiest.
We're just here for we're just here to have fun. This is how we would talk if there was no microphones here. So with the same inflections as presenting.
Well, we try to make it natural. Lord knows the first few weren't so much.
I've not listened to them since.
It's fine, me neither.
Right, well, we'll finish up there, but thanks very much for listening. Have a good one, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye.
Bye.